Wonderful, wonderful. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to everybody. As usual, we would like to thank you for attending all of these workshops. And as you can see, today's workshop is going to be about finding and evaluating sources. It mostly targets graduate students. As you can see again, the workshop is going to be presented by Dr. Mohammad Anwar Mansour. Dr. Mohammad presented two very good workshops before, if you remember them. One of them was about writing a systematic review. Again, it targeted graduate students. And the second one, which was very, very useful, was about strategies for writing literature review. Again, it was targeting graduate students. Today, Mohammed Mansour, you know him very well, I'm sure, and needless to introduce him to you, is an EFL teacher, practitioner with about 20 years of experience, or around 20 years, for students from various nationalities. His research interests include teacher education, English as a foreign language curriculum, and educational technology. All of these fields, as you know, are very important for both educators and students. The floor is yours, Dr. Hamid Mansour. If you are ready, you can start.
Thank you so much, Kamal. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for coming up and attending this presentation. As it is already mentioned, that finding and evaluating sources, this is particularly for graduate students who have just started their journey into research. But of course, anybody can find something, some useful ideas if you are into research or you are into academic writing. So if you are already, into research and you have published, then most of the things might be a repetition. Some things might be new for you. So my apologies in advance if things are not of very of complex nature. So we'll start, and uh, can you hear my voice? Okay. Great. So I might not be reading your comments. So if you have any questions, I would appreciate if you keep them till the end. If you will be writing in the chat box, I might not be able to read. So we can discuss questions in the end if you feel like, if it's quite urgent, so then you can raise your hand and we can talk. So feel free, it's fine. But of course, when I'll be talking, so I might not be reading the chat box comments. So my apologies. Okay, so let's start. So here we will be looking at the outline for today's presentation. Here we'll look at what is a source, or what are sources, and then sources in research, and then different types of sources. And then I'll be particularly interested in sharing search strategy, like when we are going for research and we are looking for sources. So there are different types of strategies that might be of some use for the people who are entering into the field of research or already seasoned researchers. And then we will also see some typical and traditional ways how to find sources. And then in the end, we will also talk about how to evaluate a source. Actually, this idea of evaluating a source is not a separate thing. It's a part of the whole finding process, because when we start finding sources, we are at the same time we are evaluating those sources as well. So we will be concluding this presentation in the end. So starting with what is a source. So usually, whenever we think about a source in research, so in our mind, the things usually they come are different type of information, and this information basically usually fill a gap between what we already know and then what is missing between what we are going to know about. So particularly the new ideas or the ideas that we already have, but for reinforcing those ideas, and then in some cases the confirmation of those ideas. We also look for examples and information or evidence. Evidence is very important part of a source, because when we are into research, we need evidence on each and every step. Right. So sources in research, if we look, so there are different types of sources. For example, there are books written by seasoned researchers, and these books become a key source when we are into research, and they're referring to those books become very pertinent for the credibility of our research as well. And then obviously the articles, journal articles, research articles, they are very important source when we are into research journey. So web pages can also be a useful source in research, but we will talk about them in a while, that why we need to be cautious when we are going into web pages. And then internet files, we can also see that they play a very important part. Mostly they are available on different data sources, databases. And then CD-ROMs were quite useful in the past, but not now, because they used to carry a lot of data that was used as a source in different researchers. Obviously, in recent times, there's a lot of development in video sources also that are also becoming a part of modern research. And then we also use lectures by seasoned, researchers as a kind of source in our research also. Obviously, interviews and surveys are a part of primary sources, and they provide, the first rate data when we are into researching any particular topic. So these are commonly known different type of sources. So, but here when we are into research, then we find source in two different ways. We look for primary source, and then we also look for secondary source. So now they are different, but this distinction is important to make, because when we are trying to read and find and evaluate different sources, then we need to make sure that what type of source we are talking about. And obviously, the type of source will definitely increases the credibility of our research as well. Now, looking into a primary source, so a primary source is original work, such as first-hand reports of experiments. When we collect data, and the information that we collect as a form of that data, they become our primary source, and they are absolutely original, because it's you, or as a researcher, going to utilize that particular source in your research. Observations and other research projects, field research you carry out yourself, documents like letters. Is everything okay? Actually, okay. I think some uh, housekeeping is going on. Okay, so observations, field research you carry out yourself, documents like letters, diaries, novel, poems, short stories, autobiographies, and journals. These are all basically primary form of sources, and when you use primary source, no one comes between you and the material. So this is the primary distinction between primary and secondary source. So they are of great importance. So whenever we look for any kind of a source, so we need to make sure that is it a primary source or is it a secondary source. Secondary doesn't mean that it's of low quality, or is its quality is not of up to the mark, but it's all about the way this source is originated or received. So that makes it different from the other. So secondary source, if we see, these are mostly the reports that a source describes, reports, comments on, or analyzes someone else's work. So you might have already experienced when we are writing a literature review. So we might be reporting and criticizing, analyzing, commenting on different other people's research and their findings. So in that way, we are, indulged into providing the secondary source for our readers, because now what we are trying to do is we are not providing the original source, rather we are commenting and reporting the sources that are collected by other researchers. So it's a second-hand information, but doesn't mean that it's not of high quality. It's very valuable in our research. This does not mean secondary sources are inferior to primary, because scholars and other experts are excellent secondary sources, and they become a source to enhance the understanding of complex, concepts in a particular field. So it's important that such sources should be consulted and should be originated, because this is how this world of knowledge it grows, and it becomes better and better. But the important thing here in red is that you need to evaluate secondary sources carefully, because this is where your evaluative, you know, instinct should be at work. Because if so sometimes what happens is that what is basically rewritten, we need to be careful that it's not distorted or there isn't a bias in this whole process. So this is where evaluating these sources becomes very important and mandatory. So whenever we are reading somebody else's work, so that's fine, but it's also important to see if the work is really important, to read the original work. Excuse me. Now, at this point, I would like to talk about a search strategy. This is a very interesting idea, because whenever we go and find sources, so it's not an abrupt process. There should be a reason to find a source. So if you know the reason, then it becomes quite logical and easier to understand the whole process. Because in during this whole process of research, Process is more important than the end product, because if we are not making sense of each and every step of this whole research process, then the final product might not make a sense to us first at all, and then to our audience on the other hand. So it's important that whatever steps we are taking, we should know a rationale for those steps. So what is a search strategy? It's an organized procedure for locating and assembling information for your research. So that is a strategy. Now we will see, different places where we can apply this search strategy, and what are different types of, frameworks used in this search strategy. So we might be finding, information or any sources on the internet or in the library. These are broadly two places that we will be discussing in this presentation. So, in a search strategy, we will focus on these two, places, that is on the internet or in the library. So they'll be in our focus when we'll be talking about this search strategy. So developing a search strategy for your research is crucial, because it will determine that what we really want to achieve, or what is the purpose of our whole endeavor that we are making in research. So an effective and successful strategy results from your working systematically and thoroughly to find material that helps to answer your research question. So this is very crucial, because we don't want to find sources abruptly, or we aimlessly, because the whole, the world is full of sources. Every step we on every topic, or even a subtopic, or a part of a topic, we find thousands of, or hundred and thousands of sources. So in that way, it's a big forest where we can lost ourselves so easily. So what can guide us? Our research question that can guide us in a better way. That what would be our, search strategy? So if we already have a research question, or we already have a topic, then this is the first signposting towards finding sources. If we don't have, then we will see that what other ways we can utilize. A good search strategy helps you to structure your research work so that you don't, mistake activity for productivity. This is very important, because sometimes while conducting research, we are so busy and so engrossed that we think that we are really very productive. But after some, period of time, when we look into our progress, so we are astonished that we were basically, walking on the wrong track. So this mistake is basically quite disturbing, and it hurts sometimes as well. So it's very important that to develop a systematic approach in research from the very beginning. I mean, this sounds quite simple, but it's not that simple. Therefore, just before we start, our research, this planning stage is more crucial than the actual research stage, because whatever we plan, it determines the quality of our research also. So, therefore, productivity is sometimes mistaken for any activity. I mean, a purposeless activity, searching information on the internet, can't produce a good quality of research. Okay, so for search strategy, we have got some frameworks that I would like to share here. The first is the expert method. I will share what is it. Then there is a chaining method, and then we have a layering method. So they all depend on what you know a point at what point you are standing in your research journey. So your position in your research endeavor will determine that what method might be working for you. So let's start with the expert method first. So as you can see with the name expert, it can tell you, so it can give you some hints. Expert method is useful when you know your specific topic, when you're already aware of your topic, you know what you are looking for. So in that way, you'll be reading articles or books by an expert in the field. So when we know the topic, then it's easier because then you can directly go and find what experts have already produced uh, on that particular topic, and that makes it easier for you to find different type of sources. So in that case, a suggestion can be talk with people who are generally knowledgeable about your topic, learn what you can from them, and ask them to refer you to work by experts on the topic. In that case, if you have a supervisor, in case, for example, students who have started working on their dissertation or any research project, so their supervisors or immediate teachers can guide them about the experts of the field. Because if we don't read the experts, then we might not be able to ground our research on a strong footing, because that's very important. And whenever we are into research field, whatever topic we are researching, it's important that we should know who are the experts in this particular field, who are considered, people who have led the way for this particular field. So knowing their work, knowing their, researches, theories, debates is very crucial to start whatever we are going to write about. And then another suggestion can be interview an expert either in person or phone or through an email. So uh, what I can suggest is that various different universities, they have different big names on their in their faculties. So there is no harm in sending them an email if the person is related to the area you're working in. So just give it a shot. If you get a response, definitely you can find a lot of valuable information while you are working on that particular field. So if you're already in contact with anybody, because sometimes it happens that talking to an expert means talking to hundred of books at the same time, because those people who have traveled quite a distance on a particular path, it's always good idea they can give a very valuable advice that what to read and what not to read. So it's important to talk to people, consult, see if somebody has already worked in a particular field, and then these things can create a lot of difference in our research journey. The second one is the chaining method. Chaining method is a little different from the first one. It's useful when you know your general topic, but you need to narrow it down to a more specific one, a manageable topic. I can give you one example that you already into educational technology. But educational technology is a very big field, it's a world in its own self. Now, when we are into this, then we have to narrow our topic down that what we want to explore in, educational technology. So we might be interested in, artificial intelligence softwares, the way they are helping students in their writing skills. So you might be interested in knowing the impact of these. So this is how you can narrow it down. So for this, you need to look for sources also. So we will see that how, when you look for different sources, how you narrow it down. Uh, okay. Right. Any question? Right. So let's start with reference books and bibliographies for current articles or websites. So this is a very important suggestion because what happens is that when we start reading about a particular topic, so reference books are quite helpful. For example, the handbooks that are written, for example, a handbook on educational technology, handbook on technology in education. So these type of reference works are quite helpful because they include the latest research articles, and their references are quite up to date, and they can guide what are the current debates in that particular broader field, and what are the specific areas that you might be interested in exploring. Bibliographies are quite useful because they also provide the list of sources, and these bibliographies are already available on databases, and they can be downloaded, and then you can look through different journal articles or key books that are published on that particular topic, and this can help you quite a lot. Or some websites, particularly the different databases that are ISI or Web of Science, or other different popular and authentic uh, databases. Their website's quite helpful. You can search through and see what is published on that particular topic and what people are referring to. I will also talk about, when we will go there, that how many times certain researchers are cited. So this gives you an idea that what is the trend in research in a particular broader field, and what can be a specific field that you might be interested in exploring. These references are a very important lead to additional sources, because when we start reading, so my personal way of uh, doing or finding sources is that I usually, for a particular topic, I go and find the latest article on that particular topic that I'm working on, and then I focus on the references in the end of the article, and I see that what references have been mentioned, and then there you can get a lot of lead. It can lead you towards additional sources. So this is one of the effective ways that we can find other sources also. And then keep up the chain, watching closely for sources that are mentioned frequently. The frequency of citation of a particular source is determining what's being talked about and why is it gaining popularity in a particular field. And this can also be quite helpful if you are interested in that particular field. Frequency is usually evidence that sources are probably expert and well respected, because in if you are working on a particular topic and you have 10 articles on that, and in each article certain works are repeatedly mentioned, it means that they are important works. So it's important to find those sources and read them first, so that you can get some grounding in that particular topic. As you work, your general topic usually begins to group and divide into different subtopics, and this is very natural in research. So one of which might serve as the topic of your research paper. So this is how we narrow it down, because we start reading the broader ideas, and then we start trying to read within those ideas, and it can narrow down into a specific one that we are interested in. If such division and grouping doesn't emerge for you, take a break for a few hours so that you can reconsider the material with fresh eyes. So in research process, such breaks are really important, but they shouldn't be very long. Sometimes we reward ourselves with the long breaks. Result is that we lose focus. So for keeping your focus on your topic, because research is not one shot thing. It's basically you live with the idea, and this lived experience they call in narrative inquiry, that lived experience of a researcher is of great value, because if we are not living with the idea, we can't see it growing. So that's very important, that taking a break, giving a fresh look, but then not losing the focus. So the third one is a layering method. Layering method is useful when you need to find your own topic. It means that you haven't got the topic yet. So layer information by first consulting general source and then finding one that are more specific. So this is from starting from zero. Try to relate the information you gather to other scholarly sources, same subject area. But one thing that I can highlight here, that when we start reading about a topic, it's very important to narrow it down as quickly as possible, because more we read, more divergent views we have on that particular topic, and then it becomes difficult to decide what is our interest. So it's important that be practical. We should not be idealistic in research. There is no ideals in research. Research is all about doing things in timely manner. So keeping that thing also in mind is important, keeping a balance between these two things. It's normal to switching or combining methods, the methods we have just talked about. Flexibility with focus is the guiding principle for experienced researchers. Flexibility with focus. This is what I was talking about, that we need to be flexible but focused on what we are doing. So, this is how we usually move. Now, whatever framework you are using, whatever method you are trying to utilize, whatever stage of research you are at, and if you need sources, then these two places, as we mentioned earlier, would be of your way to go: library and the internet. So let's quickly see what you can find in library. Obviously, books, periodicals, journal articles, they are printed and they are made available in libraries. A list of sources in catalogs. Catalogs are great source as well, because you can find a lot of expert work in these catalogs, that what is published on a particular topic. So you can find that information or sources there. Indexes are great, because in indexes you will find the references for all great works. They are alphabetically, usually alphabetically organized, and they can be of great source for your topic. Databases, we will discuss online databases now after some time. Now databases are all online, because in even the modern libraries they have these databases that are online. It used to be in the past that they used to have internal manual databases maybe, but now they have replaced with the online one with the development of information technology. Encyclopedias are great if you are reading generally about a topic. These atlases are made available in libraries. They provide you, these are the maps of various geographical regions. In some cases, it depends on your topic of research, that you might need these atlases also. So yearbooks are published where all the important research related to a particular field is published, and these can be great source as well. Many college libraries offer pages as well to give you remote access. I think King Abdulaziz University also provides, if you have a valid username and password, then you can access. I tried from home, but it's always good idea to be on campus and then use those databases. Then you might have more access. One key advantage of going to the library is your chance to consult with librarians. I have no experience here in KU library, but when I was in Exeter, I had the experience of talking to the librarian. They were quite helpful, and it was great to talk to them because they are the people who are expert in that particular field, and they can guide you really well how to find a particular source that you are unable to find. So if this is the case, then you can avail this facility. They train for this profession by learning how to advise students and other researchers, so it's a great advantage. In library catalogs list sources, usually books, and that the library owns, and then indexes. This is just explanation what I have already shared. Indexes list articles in periodicals, in each index covers a specific topic area. So indexes are quite useful for a broader research, broader sources that we are finding exist mainly in electronic format now in modern libraries, and they can be utilized, and they can be, I'll show you that how can you find indexes online. Databases always exist electronically, and they are a great source of reliable journals, articles, and book chapters, and they contain extensive list of articles, reports, and books. So mostly libraries, they provide, they buy subscriptions of these databases, and students can avail these databases freely. Otherwise they're very expensive, unaffordable as students. You can also subscribe to these databases, but as I said, they are expensive, so it's better to search and consult a library database. So how can we use databases when we are finding sources? Each entry in a database contains bibliographical information. So bibliographical information, it includes title of the journal article or the book, author, date of publication, and publisher, who has published in case of books or reports, or periodical in case of articles. So this information is always there in a database. So this can help you that what type of source you are looking for. The entry might also provide an abstract. So abstracts are quite useful because they can, and these are the brief summaries of the research published. So they can give you a very good idea that is it what you are looking for, or you need something else. So initially, reading a lot of abstracts is a good practice because it can guide you well towards what you are looking for. Okay, so once you locate an entry that seems promising, then you might need to read a print or soft copy of the source. So the best way is that you need to, in the very beginning, establish, a systematic way of organizing your research. For this, you might need some software to save your sources. Popular softwares can be EndNote or Zotero. Zotero is free and easy to use. Mendeley is there. These are popular ones. You might use any one of these, but it's important to have a good command of these softwares in the beginning, because once you start reading, it's important to save that information. Saving that information even more important than what we are doing, because later on when we need to consult any particular journal article or book reference, then we need to go back and see where I have put that. So this is very important. Usually the new researchers, the amateurs, they are quite ambitious. They start reading a lot of stuff, but they fail to save it in a particular place. So this organizing ideas, putting things in order, it's the first step in. So discipline is the key in research. If there is no discipline, research can be a big mess, and this mess can haunt the researcher for a long period of time. Right. Sources that you identify through scholarly databases are always more reliable and appropriate. This is very important. This is what I was saying, that this idea of evaluating a source starts as you look for sources. Where are you looking for sources? If I'm just Googling a particular topic, so I might find thousands of results for as a as a result of it, but I need to be very careful about the reliability of those sources, because these are web pages published by people we don't know. But what is good about these databases, that mostly the research published is peer reviewed, and these databases are organized and managed by the experts. So you can rely on these sources as compared to any other form of sources that we find on World Wide Web. Using databases, the reliability of scholarly databases stem from their origin, and only experts and professionals, they work on that. Access a database is to go to the library and then use the website there. Most college libraries, they provide access to ABSCO. ABSCO is a database, FirstSearch or IBIS, or similarly Web of Science or ISI, and these are popular. Scopus, these are popular databases that are given the subscription, and then you can easily use that. KU, and they have developed this app, ku.appdeepknowledge.io. I have tried it, and I really find it quite interesting. So I suggest exploring this for finding sources. This is a screenshot from that particular app. It's available on KU library. So if you go there, so you will find this kind of screenshot. So here they have different type of sources. So I have tried some of them. They have provided a link to KU library, and then this SDL, Saudi Digital Library, as well. This, I think, must be explored if somebody is looking for sources from KU, within KU. So if you look at here, these are Arabic databases, English databases, ebooks, university theses, archives, multimedia, trial databases. Uh, some databases, they are on trial because the university is haven't got the subscription yet, so they are on trial. So you might not find all the articles from these particular databases. Some may be available, but when you look for there, so you can explore alphabetically. They are organized, indexed here, and this index is for the databases. When you go deep and find different databases, from their names you can easily identify that are they relevant to your broader topic or not. So this can be a great exercise. If you start with look for various databases, you will find different search boxes. I will show you next, and then you can explore further. Okay, so searching the World Wide Web. As I said earlier, when we are searching the internet in general, not the databases, then this World Wide Web is organized around pages called web pages, and they are linked together electronically. It can be a great source to get quick information on a topic. If I want to read about a topic in general, it's okay. But to make it a reliable source, then I have to be a bit careful when we are on World Wide Web. Billions of pages are there in great books and periodical articles. If you find something there, it's great. But again, only a fraction of these sources are available on the web without subscribing or paying a fee. So this is where, as a students, it becomes important that we should rely more on our university facility as compared to what is available free. And then library databases remain the most important method of finding scholarly sources. So this is very important that we should rely more on there. And for general understanding, it's okay to read on World Wide Web. So principle would be the same. Searching that we start with a broad subject and narrow it to arrive a suitable topic for academic research paper. So how to search, I will show you next. So when we look for search engines are basically within the databases. They have designed a program where you can go and write, your topic and find the relevant sources. Search engines are programs designed to hunt the World Wide Web and Internet files for sources specific topic. You identify using keywords. So keywords are very important, and mostly you see these keywords in the very beginning of a research article under the abstract. Every author, writer, researcher is asked to write keywords. So keywords are the main constructs that research is based on. So these words, help us to find more, because mostly the files that are put on the web, they are tagged with the help of keywords. So keywords are very important. When you use a search engine, you generally access material in one or two ways: through keyword searches or subject directories. I will explain shortly what is subject directories. Now let's look at using keywords. So whenever you look for a particular topic, so it's always important to write that topic in keywords also. For example, educational technology can be a keyword, and then I might be interested Grammarly in writing, Grammarly software that I want to explore, that how it's impacting. Student writing can be a keyword. So this is how we can make a list of keywords, and it could be useful idea. So keywords, descriptors or identifiers, the main words in a source title or the words that the author or editor has identified as central to that source. So these keywords are also known in research as descriptors or identifiers. So it means the same. So they are very important. So if you are looking for, always a good idea to make a list of keywords that the topic we are working on. So this list will help a lot in finding. Because then you can go and write the keywords and you will find the relevant books, catalogs, periodicals, indexes, and then whenever possible, narrow your list of keywords by using Boolean expression. Boolean expression is a feature in a database that help us to find out by searching. For example, I can add words and or but, just to more specifying my research. So I'll show you that how does it work, not practically, but I will show you, because how does it work. Boolean expressions are quite useful. This process might, okay, yeah. So keep a record of poor and good keywords in your research log. So I said earlier that you need to be organized from the very beginning as a researcher. So then all good and bad keywords must be a part of our research log because they will help us to see our journey as a researcher, that how we have started and how we traveled throughout that process. It might seem tedious at times, but don't discourage. As I said, that the process is more important than the end product. So that's why, we might get bored sometimes, but it's a part of process. So two main ways to keyword searches are more efficient are using guided searches and using Boolean expressions. Now we will talk about these two. If you look at this page, this is from Saudi Digital Library. Here at the top, you can see keyword. Under keyword, if I'm going, this is the search bar. So if I need to find out a particular, so, if I have the keywords, then I might go, I've got three options here: keyword, title, or author. So I might be select any one of these and go for, if I have a keyword, I can just write the keyword and then I can see what is available there. So if I already have one specific title, then I might select title from this drop down menu and I can go for the title. If you look down, search modes and expanders, search modes, here Boolean phrase. So if I click on Boolean phrase, so I'll get more options here, and I can write down that technology, not in education, for example, or I can say that technology, but writing, or I can phrase these particular expressions depending on what type of topic. So I can limit, I can guide the search engine to limit my search so that I can be more specific instead of broad, because broader the keywords, more would be the result, and then it will be more time taking. Using guided searches, it's another way apart from the keywords. Guided searches are search a database or search engine by answering prompts provided, usually by filling in a form on a screen. So guided searches often allow you to select range of dates. So I'll show you a page where you can I can show you a page where you can see there are different, you know, search options, and you can limit those options here. So guided search is like this. On this page, if you see, limit to, so full text, references available, or from 1800 to 2023. I can guide this search by limiting the number of years. I might be interested in last 5 years, so I might pull that blue, button and bring it here. So it will reduce the number of years. And then source types I can also select: academic journals, or I need reports, books, or whatever. So I can use this feature as well. So it can be now look at here, this is reference available and then peer reviewed. So it's always a great idea to go for peer reviewed journals using Boolean expressions. Boolean expression, I said earlier, is basically you narrow down your search. So you can use words like and, or, not, and near. Sometimes some databases they use symbols also. Boolean expression generally placed between keywords. So between the keywords, instruct the search engine by utilizing this feature. As I said earlier, so when I am this is from ABSCO. ABSCO is also a very popular database. So here Boolean expression, if you click on that, it will provide you more options on that. using subject directories. So this is another way of finding information. Subject directories are also available on databases, included on most search engines home pages. They provide a good alternative to keywords. Instead of searching keywords, you can find the subject directory. For example, on education, if I want, so I can go to that directory. I can find all the relevant journal articles there as well. These subject directories are list of topics, for example, education, computing, entertainment, and so on, and resources and services available on that. So they have put all the information under those particular categories. So several subject categories exist independently. For example, let me show you here. If you look at this page on ABSCO, so here you can see I have just indexed. Here I have put journal titles and then education, and then I can see all the sources related to education there. So you can see education record count, so 1983. So these are different terms related to education, journals and databases. So this can also specify your search. Some subject directories are available independently as well, so their websites are there. You can go directly there and find more information, because they provide latest information on these different topics, so you can explore these as well. And how to evaluate a source. Now at the end, we will look at how to evaluate a source. Actually, we keep on evaluating when we are searching, so but some broader guidelines we can discuss. How trustworthy your source is. Now trustworthiness is established when you the place where you are looking for that source. So this is what we have already discussed, that if a source is coming from Wikipedia, so obviously trustworthiness is not of of great as compared to if some source is coming from ISI indexed journal. Whether the source answer your research question, so this is very important. Now these 2 points are important when we evaluate: is it relevant or is it trustworthy or not. So 4 R's framework is quite helpful, that I'm going to share with you. This is simple. First is relevant. A source is relevant if relates to your narrow topic. It provides specific information that answer your research question. That's very important and fundamental, criteria. And then second is recent. It should be a recent source. I mean, the latest sources that are published recently, they are more reliable because they are based on all the research conducted previously. If contains the latest information about a topic. If you are researching an event from history, you still need most current information available. Third is representative. A source is representative if it explains different viewpoints on a controversial topic. So sometimes in some research articles, when you give it a first reading, you get an idea that this research is just supporting a particular viewpoint. So this shouldn't be there, because the main critical element of research is that when different viewpoints are considered in that particular research, you never want to present only one side of an argument. So obviously with experience, when you read a lot of stuff, then you become quite attentive to what the authors are writing and what is their inclination, so it becomes easier to find out. It should be reliable if it includes accurate and objective information. And then to find accurate information, look for well respected publishers. So publishers are very important, because more you read, more you see that certain journal articles are only published by reliable sources, so they are peer reviewed, and they are supervised by experts, so obviously you can trust those sources. These strategies are simple. Read the article abstract first, and then note the year of publication. Consider objectivity and consistency. Objectivity is can be seen by reading that. You can see that how the author is utilizing different viewpoints within that particular research. And then check accuracy. Accuracy means that it's important that if you have a doubt on a particular source, that is a secondary source, then it's important to go and read the primary source so that you can see, is that author reliable, is this publisher reliable, because this is how you establish reliability with the passage of time. Follow up references. So see the reference list and then see what is mentioned from an article. Of course, it's time taking, but still it's an important part of this whole process. Follow up citing links. Citing links mean the links that are mentioned. So, for example, quotes are taken from different sources. So you can go and see what are the different sources. Citing links are also these databases. They provide how many times a particular article is cited in different places. So if you go ISI, International Scientific Indexing Database, so you will see whenever you find an article, you click on that, you will see that how many times it is cited. So this also establishes the reliability. Scopus is another one, Web of Science, and consider limiting your article search to peer-reviewed journals only. This is our conclusion, because peer-reviewed journals so far can be the more reliable ones. And then the publishers, that who is publishing, because a lot of stuff is now is published on the name of peer reviewed by charging money, but the publishers are not very reliable. So credibility can be found here. ISI published, Scoopers, or Web of Science. So if you find journals from there, so yes, you can trust and see that they are reliable sources. So couple of references, and that's all. So now we can spend some time for questions if you might have any. If you don't have any questions, then it means you are good researchers. Okay, I think there aren't any questions. Mr. Kamal, are we done? I think he's reconnecting. Thank you so much, everyone.
Uh, Salam alaikum. I lost
Uh,
the sound for 30 seconds. Sorry for that, Dr.
no,
Muhammad
no,
and
it's
other
okay.
ladies
It's
and
okay.
gentlemen. Actually, Dr. Muhammad, there is no way to thank you enough for this excellent and informative and impressing workshop. And because of its importance, we want you to repeat it every day. Huh?
Yeah,
Actually,
thank you.
yeah,
Thank you
we
so much.
badly need such information. I'm sharing these three links as usual, dear brothers and sisters. For those who are interested in getting certificates, please make sure that you fill in the workshop evaluation form, the first one. For appointments, you can use the second link. For all our presentations and videos, you can visit our YouTube channel. Um, for Dr. Mohammed, yes, some participants requested the slides, if you don't mind,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah,
number
yeah,
one.
that's fine. I can send the PDF to you,
Great.
and then you can share if they need. So it's fine. Yeah, nothing.
Fa- Fantastic.
There is some question. How can we access the database? Is it free for KU students? Okay. For KU students, if you search on campus, then you might get better results. So yes, you can access these databases, but depending on your topic, all the journals are not available. So sometimes in particular journals, certain articles are not available, but that's okay. This is a part of, whole thing. But still, a lot of stuff is available that is free for KU students. So I encourage you to use these databases. Saudi Digital Library is growing with the passage of time, and then KU Library has. As I've just shown you this, let me show you one more time. This is very interesting to go and explore this one, this deep knowledge. They have developed a new app on KU Library. Here you can access a lot of sources. So if you see these index sources, these are all databases. Within these databases, you will find a lot of journals, and then within journals you can find a lot of articles. So I haven't explored a specific one. I have just given you a broader idea, but if you go deep, you will find a lot of stuff, and that's quite valuable. Yes, you can find a lot of free articles there. Thank you.
If you have more questions, dear participants, you can write them in the chat box. Now, Dr. Muhammad is free, or you can use your microphones.
You are all welcome. Thank you. Appreciate.
Okay, it seems that and everything is clear, inshallah, as always, Dr. Muhammad and dear participants. And just to remind you that our next week or next week's workshop is going to be about sentence types in academic writing, which is another very important topic. So stay tuned, and we are looking forward to seeing you next week, inshallah. Have a rest of good evening for everybody and wishing you the best of luck. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad.
Thank you, Kamal. I appreciate your professionalism. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you all. Wa alaikum assalam. Thanks a lot. The best of luck.